So the Logitech Yeti GX is replacing the Blue Yeti and the Yeti Orb is replacing the Blue Snowball. I'm recording these both at the same time, so I'll be switching between the audio of both of them so that you can hear the difference in real time. Now the Yeti GX is a dynamic microphone. It doesn't pick up as much background noise. It's a lot more laser focused on your voice, as I will demonstrate in a music test in a little bit. The Yeti Orb, a lot more sensitive condenser microphone. You can probably hear my PC fan a little bit, especially if you have headphones. Both of these are compatible with the Logitech G Hub software and Blue Voice, and there are a lot of different settings that you can change. You can change the lighting of both of these. You can't really see the light on the Yeti GX right at this angle, but as you can see in the software, I have the headset connected and the two microphones, and then if you wanted to sync up the lighting, you could do that here, and same with the Yeti GX down here. Now both of these are plastic builds, not the most sturdy devices, but they're quite lightweight, really easy to move around. Put it on a desk, put it on a boom arm, a stand, wherever you want. Easy to move around, very light. Now the Yeti Orb has two different 1/4-inch threading slots so that you can angle this how you want to. The issue is it doesn't actually come with a 1/4-inch adapter, so you can put it on the stand, but if you want to put it on a boom arm and you have like 3/8" or 5/8" threading, it just is not going to work. You're going to need something that goes 1/4-inch to actually go into the Yeti Orb. I happen to have another microphone stand that already had an adapter, so that's what I'm using for this. But moving the Yeti GX up a little bit higher, you see this 1/4-inch adapter down here, 1/4-inch to 5/8". That actually comes in the box of the Yeti GX. Now there are no knobs or switches on the Yeti Orb itself. You're gonna have to change the volume and mute the mic in the system settings or whatever software you're using. The Yeti GX has a mute button, a volume wheel, which you can actually click in and it will turn on smart audio lock. It has a downward expander, which will decrease background noises by adding like a kind of a noise gate effect, but it will also make sure that your volume isn't peaking too much, like it keeps it at a specific level with the limiter in it. So I'll turn that on right now. And basically I'm just not going to peak. If I speak really loud into this microphone, really super loud, it's not going to peak. It's not going over -10 dB right now, actually. I might actually even boost these up a little bit in post. Now I've turned the smart audio lock off and speak a little bit louder, just a warning, but I have turned it down in post. I will clip the microphone if I speak really loud now without the smart audio lock. It's a really cool feature, but I don't like the downward expander. I do like the limiter. So just setting a limiter separately, I think is a good idea. You can also turn the RGB on and off completely by holding in the volume wheel. That'll just turn the light off if it's too distracting. The Yeti Orb, you have to do that in the Logitech G Hub software. Both of these microphones use a USB cable, USB-C to Type A. Neither of these mics have mic monitoring, so I monitor through OBS, but it has a very slight delay. So if you want that low latency or no latency monitoring, just not gonna happen with either of these mics. Now I'll do a quick music demonstration, then I'll talk about how these compare sound quality wise.
Lemonade in the shade, summertime, you and me. Sometimes it's really just that simple. At the park, after dark, hold my hand, take a walk. Sometimes it's really just that simple. Oh yes, we got bills, yes they do today. Yes, we not broke, yes we got a baby, yes we got love.
Now, as far as the audio technical specifications, the Yeti GX can record at up to 24-bit 96 kilohertz. Right now, I only have it at 48 kilohertz because OBS, that's all it goes up to. Yeti Orb, 24-bit 48 kilohertz. The Yeti Orb's frequency response is 70 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So we're not getting that full 20 to 20. And the Yeti GX is 60 hertz to 18.5 kilohertz. So neither of these are getting that full sound like the Blue Yeti does. But a lot of people put high pass filters anyway because they don't like that rumble. Really just depends on what you're into. Now, as far as the actual sound quality, I definitely prefer the Yeti GX. It's very similar comparison, the Yeti GX to the Blue Yeti. As was demonstrated in that music test, the Yeti GX really lasers in on whatever is right in front of it. It is a super cardioid microphone and it's dynamic, and the Yeti Orb is cardioid. So they're both picking up sounds from in front of you, but it's really strict, the Yeti GX. So you can hear like a full blending of like the body of like the keyboard and the vocals all together in the Yeti Orb. But it was like more like only the vocals and then the instrument was kind of there in the Yeti GX. So depending on what you're actually trying to do, if you want to get everything, then the Yeti Orb might be a better option for you. But if you're just recording a vocalist, or if you want to get rid of as many background noises as possible, or just reduce them down as much as possible without having to add a noise rejection filter, then the Yeti GX is definitely the option for that. This also sounds, the Yeti Orb, a lot more distant because I am not in a sound treated room. So it just sounds farther away, a little more echoey. Also, the tonality is a little bit thinner up top. It just doesn't quite have the same body in the bass, but it's not extreme like the level of like the Blue Snowball. I'll compare this to the Blue Snowball also. This doesn't get rich and warm itself. You got to EQ it. I haven't EQ'd it right now because I just wanted the raw audio for this. I find it to be a little bit too sibilant. Actually, let me demonstrate it on both. First with the Yeti GX, She Sells Seashells by the Seashore. Yeti Orb, She Sells Seashells by the Seashore. Personally, not really the biggest fan of either of these in terms of that. Plosive rejection, neither is good either. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. So good microphone placement is really important. So I'm not speaking directly into these, speaking a little bit past them. The Logitech G Hub software has a lot of amazing settings that you can control. Noise reduction filters, EQ, like a ton of stuff that you can do. The problem is it's very unresponsive and very inconsistent. So sometimes you'll alter a bunch of settings and they won't actually stick, or you'll turn them off and then you'll turn Blue Voice off and they'll still be active in the background. In fact, it took me a while to make sure that they were off because both of these microphones by default had that noise reduction filter on, even though Blue Voice was supposedly unticked. So hopefully Logitech can actually fix that, because if they do, when that software works perfectly, I think that the Yeti Orb is a really good condenser microphone that you can pick up specifically because of the software. The out the box sound, the lack of the mute button, lack of buttons, but that software is just actually has a lot of potential. And I also feel similarly about the Yeti GX. There are other dynamic microphones, other XLR or other USB microphones that you can pick up. But the Blue Voice software, when it actually works, it's really good and just got a ton of amazing features in it. So these are two great additions that Logitech has added to their microphone lineup. I personally prefer the Yeti GX. It makes the speaker sound closer to it because it's not picking up so much reverb, doesn't sound as far away, and the tonality is just a little bit warmer, not a lot. The Yeti Orb with some EQ work, or if you have a better sound treated area, can also be a really good microphone as well. And if you're on a budget, this is actually a really good pick.